The mother of a young girl with a severe peanut allergy has said she's anxious to fly again after cabin crews were reluctant to make other passengers aware of her daughter's health condition.
Sarah and Savannah were flying from Manchester to Paris when Sarah says she had to notify other travellers herself about the seriousness of Savannah's allergy. Our reporter Zoe Toes can tell us more.
It's life-threatening, so her airways will close up and she can go into anaphylactic shock. It's life or death.
7-year-old Savannah has a severe airborne peanut allergy. Her family have to take extra precautions every time she leaves the house.
She was initially diagnosed when she was 6 months. She was severely allergic to milk along with a number of other products. Before we go away, we'll always contact the airline a couple of months in advance, make them aware of Savannah's allergies, make sure that we've got our action plan with us, obviously all the medication, make sure that we've got plenty of food prepared for her in case of delays. Ultimately, we're at the mercy of the airline and the passengers once we've done our preparation.
But a dream trip to Disneyland Paris last month ended in a nightmare. Savannah's mum Sarah asked cabin crew on an Air France flight to alert passengers about their daughter's allergies. She told us the staff were rude and did not take her concerns seriously.
As I was boarding the plane, I notified the staff and she just said, "Yeah, don't worry, we don't serve nuts." And I said, other passengers need to know, her allergy is airborne, it's serious. Can you do an announcement? And she said, we don't do announcements. And I said, I've never been on a flight where there's not been an announcement. I said, please, can you make the announcement? And she said, I'll see what I can do. It would take 20 seconds to make an announcement that could save somebody's life, ultimately.
In a statement, Air France told us cabin crew are trained, aware and prepared to take action in the event of allergies. They said they do not offer any peanut-based products on board, and they also added the air in the cabin is renewed every 3 minutes, preventing allergens from spreading during a flight.
With an aeroplane, it's so frightening because you're thousands of miles up in the air. In that situation, you've only got a matter of minutes. I would just like all airlines to just take it more seriously and that it's standard practice that all passengers are informed when there is somebody with a severe allergy on board.
Zoe Toes, BBC News.
We can talk now to allergy specialist Dr. Helen Evans-Howells and Nadim Ednan-Laperouse from the Natasha Allergy Research Foundation. Good morning to you both. Nadim Ednan-Laperouse, you have experience of this. You are campaigning for better food safety after setting up the Natasha Allergy Foundation, Research Foundation, following her death in 2016. When you hear this experience of Sarah and Savannah, what do you think?
I think it's really, it's a bad story, and unfortunately, these sort of stories we hear every week from the public who write in talking about different airlines, and what it really highlights, very simply, is that the airline industry as a whole, which is a very safe industry, as we know, it's highly regulated around all sorts of things, but on food allergy, it seems to be they've taken off with the door open. And actually leave passengers certainly feeling at risk. And it feels like the whole the industry, the sector, haven't understood the needs of their food allergic passengers, and they're not really listening. And it's highlighted really in these stories that we hear again and again, just like we heard just now. And it's really poor and very surprising for an industry that is well known for its safety. And they really need to sort themselves out.
In the Air France statement we saw in that report, it's made clear that the air is cleared every 3 to 4 minutes, recycled, and there is some dispute about whether or not peanut allergies are airborne. But the issue is if people eat peanuts and the residue or bits are left on seats or surrounding furniture.
That's right. It's a good point. In airlines, modern aeroplanes, there are very, very good air conditioning or air treatment with HEPA filters that removes all the particles and so on very, very regularly and so on. But what we're really talking about here, I think, is the cross contact essentially. So if you imagine that your viewers now had a bowl of peanuts in front of them and they ate some picked them up and then they would have peanut residue or on their fingers. Now, when you get up, you touch the armrest, you touch the toilet door handle, you touch lots of things, and that residue stays all over the plane. And for someone who's food allergic, in this case nut allergic, peanuts, that coming into contact with that residue effectively, it can be really problematic. And for those that are very sensitive to peanuts in terms of have a very serious allergy, that could lead to anaphylactic shock or having an allergic reaction on board. And I think it's the fear of that, the emotional fear of that for passengers that really worries them. And I think what the airline industry just don't understand. Airline industry are good at looking after hundreds of millions of passengers. Some do a reasonable job around food allergy, but the vast majority, it seems, just make it up as they go along. And they really need to have a consistent policy across all airlines on how to do it well.
Should say we've had a statement from the Civil Aviation Authority, which has said, we're aware that passengers with severe allergies can feel vulnerable when flying, and we want to ensure everyone feels safe on a plane. We fully support pre-boarding passengers with allergies and airlines stocking on-board EpiPens. Following on from a recent commissioned report on this topic, a group of airlines, UK airlines and allergy specialists are working together to ensure those travelling with allergies are assisted in a consistent way.
Helen, good morning to you. You wear a number of hats in this, don't you? Because you're a mother of a son who has an allergy, you're a GP, and you're also a specialist because you made it your business to find out more. Help us with a bit of the practicalities. With the knowledge you have and the allergy your son has, when you're getting on a plane, how does that work?
Yeah, it is really difficult. And I think what this story highlights, as Nadim is saying, is that people with allergies and their families often feel unheard, dismissed, made to feel a nuisance. And we really need to support them with that. There are a lot of myths that circle around allergy. And in part, one of the reasons I retrained, and thankfully my son has outgrown his anaphylactic allergies now, is because even though I was a GP at the time, I really knew very little about allergies, and I believed some of the myths of, these foods definitely become airborne, the reactions get worse each time. And what that does is that creates fear for people that we have to recognise, and that has a huge impact on their quality of life, with many people not even travelling in the first place. So asking for quite a reasonable request of, could you, share that my daughter has an allergy, is something that, we would expect airlines to do. As the Civil Aviation Authority have said, and Nadim, there are simple measures you can take. So board early, wipe your seat down early, because as you've said, one of the biggest problems is the planes have a rapid turnaround time and they're not cleaned well. So, wipe them down, make sure that you can't see any food contaminants in your surrounding area, take your own blankets and pillows, don't eat on board, and always carry your emergency medicines if you've been prescribed them. And simple measures like that will help. But unfortunately, I would say the majority of people still feel fearful because you feel very vulnerable. And although these stories often highlight nut allergies, the reality is there are many allergies, with, milk allergy being extremely severe and whilst deaths are rare, they are a cause of death for children. And, some of the people I look after have sort of 20, 30 allergies. And so it is, these are very difficult situations to navigate, and we need more understanding about this as a society.
Hannah, I mean, that's very interesting, important, all the things you've said there. And in the same breath, and maybe you've literally been in that situation with your own family in the past, it doesn't seem unreasonable if someone is getting on a plane with a child who has an allergy, an adult has an allergy, and they would like, if you like, the courtesy of when they say to someone, this situation, for my peace of mind, could you do it? That just doesn't seem unreasonable, does it?
No, I really don't think it is. And, when you are just specifically saying, could you avoid peanuts, for instance, that is something that we could adapt to. I know that airline didn't serve them, but we could ask that other passengers don't eat it. It does become challenging because, of course, if you're a person who's got 20 allergies and it's wheat and milk and egg, we can't reasonably expect people to not serve any. But often those families, I guess, are slightly more used to navigating the fact that they are surrounded by their allergies and will have put in place lots of measures to support that. But asking, could you avoid one food group, or specifically if you're sat near us, please don't eat it, so that my young child can enjoy their holiday too and not feel anxious. You know, we really should understand that. And the moment that I meet people who now have a child with allergies or a family member, all the time they say to me, I had no idea how this would feel. And I felt the same. You know, I was a trained clinician and I had no idea how it would feel watching my son have nut and milk allergies, and how difficult that was to navigate, and how often you are made to feel like you're a helicopter parent and a nuisance. And we support thousands of people at Dr. Helen Allergy and Anaphylaxis UK that I work for, trying to navigate these situations. And we just consistently see across all industries. I mean, there recently was, you know, another film out, The Roses, where yet again allergies were the butt of a joke. You try and explain to your child why, you know, they think it's funny to share anaphylaxis that's being deliberately caused. It's not reasonable.
Dr. Helen Evans-Howells, thank you very much. And Nadim Ednan-Laperouse, we appreciate your time this morning as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
No worries.